But before we dive into the UN fleet, we have the pleasure of having this session opened and the honor of having Ms. Sonja Leighton-Kone, Assistant Secretary General and Deputy Executive Director of UNOPS, who is also the co-chair of the Business Innovation Group and driving the group that's driving the UNSDG Efficiency Initiative. We'll give the floor to Sonja, and maybe after your opening, Sonja, we can take a couple of questions from the field. It's an oversubscribed call, and a lot of colleagues are joining as we speak as well. And then after Sonja's opening and couple of questions and answers, maybe we can move to the next part of the session, which is the UN fleet, and we have colleagues and the leadership from the UNHCR and WFP joining us today. So without any further ado, let me hand over this session to you, Sonja, please. You and the field.
Thank you. Thank you, Zamir. Sarah and Dominique, no pressure. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all colleagues joining this informational webinar with us from around the world. As Zamir said, my name is Sonja Leighton-Kone, and I have the privilege of serving as the co-chair of the Business Innovation Group, which we call the BIG. Together with my co-chair Andrew Sabreton of UNFPA and the 20 other ASGs as BIG members of the United Nations Sustainable Development Group, our role is to advance the UNSDG efficiency roadmap. That's from this year until 2028. What does this mean, colleagues? It means we work to make our collective operations simpler and smarter across a more and better joined up UN system. We have 5 priorities. The first, priority number 1, is scaling what works. The second is strategic integration with the UNAT. The third priority is country-led innovation and modular expansion. Our fourth priority is bridging the humanitarian and development divide. And our fifth priority is to operationalize the mutual recognition principle. So as I said, 5 priorities that I think are very relevant to your work as well. Recently, we concluded the 4th big meeting and the 50th high-level committee on management sessions in Vienna, where we reaffirmed our commitment to making efficiency reforms a crucial part of our daily operational reality. A key message from Vienna was that the efficiency roadmap is a driver of the efficiency dimension of UN80, of that shifting paradigm report, as both a bridge of humanitarian and development work and as a means to drive transformation changes in the field. Our roadmap seeks to link our efficiency streams with global shared services, common back offices, common premises, and the business operation strategies, so that we can better support program delivery, humanitarian response, and SDG achievement. All 4 of these efficiency streams rest on the imperative of operationalizing the efficiency enabler of mutual recognition. That commitment to recognizing and using each other's policies and norms to cooperate efficiently and effectively. Global shared services is a priority for the BIG. Its impact is evident and realized if all entities use services and avoid duplication. There is a new Global Shared Services dashboard, and we have just agreed in Vienna that there is a forthcoming foresight analysis demonstrating that if most entities adopt the endorsed GSS services at even a moderate rate, we could unlock $200 to $300 million in additional efficiency over the next 2 years. That's not abstract savings, colleagues. That's funding which we can then redirect to country teams and the people we serve. So today's session showcases UN Fleet, an initiative jointly created and led by UNHCR and the WFP. It's one of the most visible examples of how shared services work in practice and how it has had incredible impact. UN Fleet is a perfect embodiment of the paradigm shift that our Secretary General outlined in his recent report. Shared services that enhance operational resilience in some of the toughest environments in which we operate. Through field-ready leased vehicles, we increase our efficiencies by saving investment costs. UN Fleet helps reduce duplication, improve safety, lower emissions. If scaled further, it could save millions across the system while advancing SDGs. It's not just also about cost savings. It's both a cultural and organizational transformation and a step forward in our journey to operational excellence. UN Fleet is a practical manifestation of the One UN operational mindset, linking global with local, the macro and the micro, and common premises together with common back office in how we manage mobility, logistics, energy efficiency, among other things, even how we manage our assets. It also supports humanitarian readiness by ensuring the UN can move staff and supplies quickly, safely, and sustainably, even in crisis settings. BIG is ready to support you in exploring the model, and the service providers can work with you to customize the arrangement to make sure it meets your operational requirements. And I'm not only practicing what I'm here to say as co-chair, UNOPS is also using these services. We are signing agreements, and so I encourage those of you who are not, get on board. My thanks to our colleagues today from WFP and UNHCR for their leadership in driving this work forward. They have truly sacrificed and put a lot of expertise at the benefit of the entire system. I also want to thank DCO for their reliable support and coordination. So, as we continue to build coherence through our efficiency roadmap, let's remember that efficiencies are not the end. They are a means to create the space to accelerate on the Sustainable Development Goals and to reshape our operations for the programmatic input to leave no one behind. Now more than ever, colleagues, we have to do big efforts to ensure we get to that last mile. So I thank you, and I hope you'll enjoy the session. And I look forward to hearing what the pickup is from our initiatives.
Thank you very much, Sonja. Thank you. Thank you so much. And maybe if you would have a couple of more minutes, we can open the floor to colleagues for any questions. And colleagues, please don't be shy. The team here and the ASG is a great opportunity basically for you to know more about the work of the BIG and not only on the GSS side, but beyond. If you have any questions, please do raise your hand if you have a question or share your question in the chat box to get the process going, maybe just to break the ice, Sonja, a little bit. I wanted to see that when you come here as the co-chair of the BIG and speaking with the field, who is looking up at you and the leadership of the Business Innovation Group, what would be the one basically key expectation that you would have from the field? We do a lot at the headquarter level, a lot at the regional level. what is it that you would be expecting every operations manager or operations staff or program staff to bring more efficiency to the work of the UN and support our agenda?
Colleagues, don't reinvent the wheel. There is a whole series of services that are available and ready. Instead of trying, use the services that are on offer from sister agencies. We have to get out of the thinking that the control needs to be ours, so it has to be in our agency for it to be good. We need to move beyond that. That is not the thinking of the rest of multinational or global thinkings, and it's pushing us behind. So that's the one thing. So I am expecting my personal indicator, and why I come and spend time on these calls is I'm looking to see what is the pickup of these services. It's not good enough to have a catalog anymore. We need to see them being used. And I'm sending the same messages to your principals at the CEB at the end of this week.
Thank you, Sonja. And colleagues, last opportunity before we let ESG Sonja leave us and hand over the session to the team that will take the UN fleet presentation forward. Any last questions? Okay, we have 2 hands raised, and let's go with Caroline first, and we're going to allow your mic and camera to come in. Go ahead, Caroline, please. You can unmute yourself directly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Sonja. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. We are very excited to hear you. But I just would like to hear from you, from your perspective, because we are hearing about these priorities for many years, especially, for example, mutual recognition. Why you do believe that now we will have different ends in all these priorities that you mentioned, especially from the headquarters parts? And the other question, it's about the UN 80 and the merge that you hear from the assembly, the General Assembly. So how the big C, the UN 80 changes, because there is big transformations ahead. How is the big perspective? And from your point of view, what changed from so many different years that the UN entities are trying the same priorities without to have it successful? What makes you make us so beautiful and excited speech at the beginning of the session? And thank you so much for this opportunity. And let me thank you, the colleagues, for the great work that they are doing in the big and at the headquarter level. Thank you so much, especially Zamir.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Maybe, Sonja, we take one more question from Laura.
Yeah, and sorry,
Caroline,
I
but
am Caroline
Zamir, that was a lot of question. Hang on there. I don't know. Let me give this one due thing, and then if you don't mind,
because I don't introduce myself here. I am Caroline Fernandes, and then I'm serving as the UN CBO manager in Brazil, and as the UNDP operations manager in Brazil.
Okay. So Zamir, if you allow me, can I speak? So Caroline,
please.
Thank you. Thank you for raising the questions, and I'm glad that we're having an open conversation. You know, Sarah, Dominic, David, which are who I can see on my screen, they have been on this journey for a long time. I was on this journey a couple of years ago in another agency. You know, I hop around a little bit, and then I came off it, and then I rejoined maybe last year or a year and a half. And there's been a lot of heavy lifting done, and it has not been easy to get the wins. Let us be honest. We have done many things in terms of savings as the system vertically, right? So in terms of efficiencies within each entity, we've done well and we've met the targets. But when it comes to sharing across, this has not been so easy. And we have hidden, with all due respect to my colleagues on this team who will come from many things, we've hidden behind lawyers. We've hidden behind procurement rules. We've hidden behind HR rules. We've hidden most recently behind IT rules. So there were always reasons not to do it. I think that we also, as a system, really have a fear of a loss of control, and also that we don't have the mechanisms for client service indicators. So there is a notion that if the person providing the service doesn't report to you, then you can't guarantee the quality. And I think maybe some time ago, that was even true. Now with the kinds of systems and dashboards that we have, much less true. But that thinking and that insecurity from the past, I think, was there. I also wanted to challenge you that it's not old wine in new bottles. We have created, the priorities are a bit different. You notice I didn't just talk to you about the products. The products are common premises, CBO, global shared services. But what we aim to do is make it clear that we want to scale what works, because we're trying not to reinvent the wheel, we want scale. So scale is a huge part of it. The fact that we have UN80 comes to your second point. It's big in our strategic priorities. Big was rejuvenating last year. Now we're not rejuvenating. We have a clear steer and a much higher level of ambition. And we need to get all of us at whatever level of the organization we are to get on board. And operational efficiency is clearly one of the elements. The country level innovation and modular expansion, that is code for we are changing the service catalog. We are changing how many services that you need to do. We created self-starter models for CBOs, okay? That's because we want to recognize and overcome the barriers. Also, after COVID, quite frankly, we learned that there were many services that we thought were location dependent that are no longer location dependent. And so we needed to update that. Then the fourth area is that the big used to just focus on development. And I would say even on the administrative budget, colleagues, we no longer have to be ring-fenced that way. And we need to be in the space of the humanitarian and development divide. So as an example, Andrew and I wrote to Tom Fletcher offering to engage with the UN80 reform work in the humanitarian cluster. And we will be sharing lessons learned. We've also asked, because there are a lot of efficiencies they are looking at the country level, that we will build on what we already have. And the final one is to your point around the operationalization, the mutual recognition. Boy, that has been one of the toughest nuts to crack, colleagues. It offers the most potential, but it's giving us a run for our money. So where have we reached? We now acknowledge that it has not been as easy, and that everybody signed the SG's call, but then nobody used it, or very little use of it. So now with that dashboard, and with the fact that we have also gotten the support of USG Catherine Pollard to use it as a strategic point in the HLCM, and to work with the legal networks, etc., we really recognize that we need to unblock it. And you're going to see more coming in that space. And we're starting to have the conversations more openly so that the resistance you face at the country level, which you were not being able to escalate, it wasn't reaching all the way, the big is taking that up for you for the entire system. So I hope that helps. Zamir, over to you. And don't
Thank
let
you
me
so
talk
much.
too long, because you have two colleagues here waiting to give their UN Fleet presentation, and they have a lot to share. But go ahead.
No problem. It's a great opportunity, Sonja, and thank you so much for your candid responses. And also, colleagues, as you can see, you can just ask the question. You get a lot of good information, first-hand information. So even if we run over the time now, you can send us your questions. We have another big co-chair joining us on November 11th for another webinar. And we will also have an opportunity to share with you written responses if needed. So with that, Sonja, if you allow us, we will take questions from both Laura and Mattia, who has raised their hands. So Laura first.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon. I wanted to ask Sonja, how do you imagine materializing these changes and improvements over time? If you already imagine a timeline and a satisfaction level that we can expect from the member states on these efficiencies delivered?
Thank
So
you.
is this about expectation and commitment from the member states, Laura? Or is this about the bigs, or is it about both?
Expectations regarding how we are going to implement this in time, and how can we measure that we are delivering these efficiencies in supporting them.
Mechanism through the DCO to report. It's a resolution, it's a requirement around system-wide efficiency. And it's one of the tools the system has and has been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. That tool is now being rolled out beyond the big to be used by specialized agencies and others so that we can better reflect. So that's one very concrete thing. Also, we have a work plan as the big, which is shared. It is approved by the Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, and it has clear indicators for the number of CBOs, what we want to do in global shared services, and a timeline. That was just re-endorsed in what month are we in? We are in October. In September, my goodness, time flies. So the SG on our behalf in his report commits and communicates the member states on what the expectations are. With the shifting paradigm report and UN80 and efficiency being such a big part of what the SG is calling for, they have reinforced their understanding that reporting will come primarily through the big mechanism. So I need, and that's why DCO through Samir, Perry, and others are making sure that all of you colleagues in the field know what's going on and that you're using it. Please do not be passive. Please do not sit on the sidelines in your OMTs or other groups. Please engage, please sign up, and then use, okay? And we will be sending out indicators to have that. We did not put a financial target yet for this year. We have a financial target already, but to incrementally increase, we have not put that. What we have done is, because we decided that there was a lot of work to be done at the global level. You know, we now need to have integration and efficiency at global, regional, and country level. So we are putting a lot of work into the fact we have mapped, for instance, that we have 30 shared service center locations across the system. And we're going to be looking at the models and their financing mechanisms to see if we can come out with even more cost-effective approaches. So that's what we're doing, Laura. I hope that helps you.
Sonja, hi, this is Mattia, head of RCO in the Philippines. My question is in relation to one of the recently reinvigorated tools, as you call them, the CBO self-starter. And I'm interested to get your view on, what what can big do to help us with that? And in particular, how can we in the field, when we are implementing this, counter some of the very important initiatives that are happening at the agency level, particularly talking about streamlining things within the global shared services, which is, in a way, at least we perceive it in the field, a bit sort of counterintuitive to actually implementing the CBOs at the country level, or it can sometimes be used, and we already see that, by the management of agencies that, we are not really thinking into going into CBO because there's so much reforms happening at each agency, so it's just delaying and waiting. So, how can we counter that argument, and what can you as big do to actually help us implement that? Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent questions. And you're right. There are a lot of moving people. I was just preparing talking points for the CEB next week, and I was reflecting on some of that. So what BIG can and will do is that we are available to speak to RCs, to speak to country teams, to provide learning, to provide training on how to go about it. I don't know if you can see on the screen David's picture, Chilaron Cortizo, head of the task team on the CBOs. David is there at your service to walk through what is going on, any team that has to explain. We also go in when needed to support countries who want to help to put together their bid offerings and to look at their service level. So that concretely we do. The big at the global level, which is at the agency level, so you spoke to him yesterday, great. So at the global level, I work at two levels. I work at the CEB principles level because DSG Amina Mohammed is very gracious to grant Andrew and myself time on quite a few of those UNSDG meetings to speak to your principals, to remind them and push. But those are principles. Then I have the ASGs for management. And that is where the commitments need to be made. But what we're doing more is we're going to start, you see that dashboard that I tell you about? It's going to start to reveal who is actually walking the talk and who is not and why. And that's how we will break it down. So you see, the big is going to tackle it both by equipping you at the capacity, at the country level to actually practically do it. And there we want to partner with the OMT and the RC. But also at the very level, tone and leadership has to start from the top. Now, for those who are waiting on the sidelines, they may end up getting burned because actually, I think Corinne had asked me this question and I didn't mention it. What's different now than used to be? We have a burning platform, colleagues. All of us are losing our administrative, our managerial budgets. Some of us are even losing our programming funding, but we need to continue to be available. And there are conversations about country reconfiguration, regional reconfiguration. These are not disconnected conversations. A drive for consolidation, efficiency, building on each other's skills and using each other's is going on now across the system. It's very different from it was before. So that's what I would want to say, and I hope that will help. And you know, Jamaicans say 1 cocoa fill basket. You start with one service, you get to another one, you get to another one. Okay? But at the end of this, just like how all country offices have business operation strategies, that is one of the most successful things we have done. The time is coming for all offices to demonstrate their use of these catalogs of services in meaningful ways. I don't mean signing, I mean using. And you know I was one of you, right? So I will come and meet you up in one of your country offices and ask you, huh? You know, I was there. Samir?
Thank you.
Am I
Thank
free
you
to
so
go?
much. Yes, thank you so much, Sonja, for those insightful remarks and candid, basically, conversation with the colleagues. I think we can make a commitment on your behalf to bring you back at one point to hear more from the field and share this information with them. And now maybe we can turn on to our UN Fleet team and hand over to Ms. Sarah Adam, who is the Director of Administration and Management Services Division in WFP, and Dominic Grace, the Deputy Director of the UNHCR and Head of the UN Fleet, to take us through the next session. Thank you, Sonja, for your time.
Thank you, colleagues. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to engage, and I hope you will find the session very informative. My appreciation, as always, to DCO for doing the heavy lifting and coordination. Have a good one.